Hey guys, Brent Hull, Wednesday design video. Working again on my daughter's house in Nashville. A small house, a front porch, making it appropriate. Come join me. Okay, you guys know I started helping my daughters with their house, and we were looking at kind of coming up with some design ideas as far as improving it. And at first I was thinking that we would just fix these columns, fix this entablature, and really have a much better entry. And then if you've been following along, that porch was never there. And so it was added on around 2018, 2019 when it was flipped. And they changed the windows, they painted the brick, and they gunked it up. And so we are actually trying to go back with something that maybe is period appropriate and trying to figure out the proportions of everything. So what I did here is I'm working through the window design, okay? And you'll notice I've gone with an 8/8 light, because we got 3 window sizes, right? Kitchen window, dining room window, living room window. And so what I'm gonna show is that this 8/8 size works for the proportion here, works for the proportion here, works for the proportion here. Now what's happening with these windows and in this style house is notice that this window has become just a big square, okay? And that most of these are square-ish. And then with just a simple divided light 1/1, I've got a really strong rectangle laying sideways, and so it makes the house look clunky. And so going with the divided light that has lift gives the house a little bit more visual height. And so I am trying to fix these windows. Typically a window in the classical period is more closer to the golden rectangle. These end up being kind of squarish, and so they don't have a great proportion. So I think a divided light like that is going to help a lot. Now the other thing I've done is I've played around with this porch. Basically we want to go with something like this, where we're going to have brackets that support this hood, okay, support this covering, catch this thing because we got an offset here. Is going to catch this gutter that runs across here. You can kind of see the old porch right in there, right? And so we've really cut it back. I've had engaged pilasters here. Our little light will actually go right on that pilaster. And if you look at this house and what's going on, look what happened to that shutter. They had to actually notch that shutter around that gutter because there was never enough room here. So I'm kind of going back more into this range, and I'm shrinking the size of this thing down so that it's much smaller. And you can see it here, how with the thing behind there, how big the old one was and how the size of my new ones is much smaller, more appropriate. And that's pretty typical of houses of this period, that you would have a simple design like that. So the entries and stuff are very important. So one of the great books I use is this Architecture's Portfolio of, okay, and these are done from, you can see 26 to 27 into the late 30s, I believe, or at least the mid 30s. And so this one's from June of 1930, and it shows just a number of different entrances, ideas that you can have on different houses. But I like their colonial revival ones, and there's a few in particular I thought were interesting, is these ones with kind of this lattice look. Now, I think this house could also carry kind of a slim lattice because it's simple and subdued. And so this one here I think could work for them if they wanted to do something like that. There's one more back here. This one here I think is real handsome and a way to enhance that entry. So there's good ideas as far as ways to put porches on this house, but because this house was such a simple house originally, we're going back with something simpler and plainer, okay, so that this house, this is kind of the anti-flipper is what we're trying to do with them. And so I don't want to do this, which was the flip decision, okay? Because those are just bad details. The column's in the wrong place, the pediment's too big, the moldings are bad, the gutters are tacked on. It's just bad. And so we're fixing the shutters too. You might have noticed that. And what I'm doing is I'm going back with one of those 30s, 40s shutters with the design in it. So there's a number of, and these are all period designs that you get from the period catalogs. But it's certainly a way to charm it up, because what is this house? This house is a rustic cottage. This house is a simple house, a simple cottage. So the details and everything else that we're using should be simple as well. That's why I've gone with a simpler hood there. That's why we're going with the charming columns, the picket fence, as you might have seen in another video. All of those things are going to kind of infuse charm into a very simple house and help us make it better. One thing you notice from a house of this period, okay, in that 40s, was what was going on historically. You know, we'd just coming out of World War II. The Great Depression and the World War II had really put a big hurt on home building and home design. And so houses were small. I mean, their house is barely 900 square feet, and that was pretty typical. And so I've shown you in other videos where you just look down the street and it's just a big collection of houses of this size, of this style. And so being successful here and being the anti-flipper is not adding more, okay? Not doing more for more sake, but doing more period appropriately. Careful decisions so that they're timeless decisions, because, you know, as I was showing you on this thing, we look at it later and there's all this vinyl siding all over the house, which we've now taken off. And we're just like, well, why is there all this vinyl siding? What's going on? Well, we know that they tried to flip it. So we've taken the shutters off, we've taken this stuff off, because we're trying to get back to the pure essence of what this house is, trying to get back to what's going to make it successful today, what's going to make it successful for them, and then add real value. Because this house got flipped and then they couldn't get their money out of it, and they kind of got into a, you know, got upside down on it. So we were able to come in and we're actually putting character back into the house so that it looks better and it's going to be better for the long term. Okay guys, what did you think? You know, those elements on the windows, the shutters, that entry porch, changing that around, trying to ride the line between, you know, charm and, you know, not getting too flippy, you know, where you make bad decisions and you do things that look like, oh yeah, they flipped this thing 5 years ago. So doing things that are timeless, making things that are beautiful. Let me know what you guys think.